Hi all, final weekend of the Premier League ahead this Sunday, and while it's sad to see it go, I have to say I'm just more wrapped up in that race for top four this weekend, being an Arsenal fan. Had to say I've steered clear of those games this week for We Love Betting, just purely because of the emotion involved. I've tried to keep it objective as much as possible, and I think it's just easier for me to look elsewhere when it's so tense, to be honest. So. Three more bets as usual. Back to winning ways last week, which was a nice little confidence boost going into this final weekend, which admittedly is a bit of a minefield with so little at stake in the games away from that top four race. But nonetheless, I think I've picked out three decent picks for you, so listen to the reasoning and see what you think. First up, it's Man City Norwich. Shame in a way this game doesn't have more at stake. In many ways, it could have been an absolute classic if Norwich had needed to stay up and City had been vying for the title at this stage, but not to be. Head-to-head records suggest it's going to be a thriller nonetheless, and as much as the last three Premier League meetings, there's been 20 goals between these sides. Absolutely astounding. That includes the 4-3 at Carrow Road earlier this season, of course. That said, I'm going a different route. I don't see how that sequence can continue, to be honest. Because you look at City at home, they've been very, very efficient against the smaller teams. I guess as you'd expect. They've won every home meeting with teams ranked 8th and below in the Premier League. 9 of those 12 wins to nil. Only Southampton have actually managed to score more than once at City all season. So of those teams, I should say. 7 of 9 meetings with the bottom half sides were to nil on the back of that. Their 18 clean sheets overall is a Premier League best, 10 of those coming at home. Also, just to add another stat to that pile, 8 of the last 9 home wins have been to nil, and that was only a record spoiled somewhat by that Andy Carroll goal, which cost me money a few weeks ago on this very set of videos. Norwich away, the only stat really that you need to know is that they've scored 13 away goals. I think only 2 sides, West Ham and Stoke, have actually scored less. And when you look at all those games that City have won to nil, and particularly recently, even since they've lost the title, they've just been sort of edging these games. And I think Man City to win to nil is 6-4, which looks like a cracking price to me based on how often it's come in this season. Second bet, it's going to be pretty similar. It's Liverpool QPR, and in many ways, actually, the first instinct I had when I saw this game was QPR at 12-1 was just an extraordinary price, really, against the Liverpool side that, okay, has looked decent in patches, but equally has drawn some strange games, and a 1-4 looked like a lay to me. But at the same time, you're going to have to be pretty brave to go back in QPR. They've obviously been really poor this season, and major motivation issues with so many of those players likely to be leaving this summer. Actually, only 3 teams have scored less than their 17 goals away, which the 3 I've already mentioned today in Norwich, Stoke and West Ham. They scored 1 goal in their last 5 games, and that was the penalty, of course, against Newcastle last week. Away from home, they've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 7 against top half sides. It's not an awful lot better against bottom half sides, to be honest. And as I say, with so many changes coming, you just figure that half these players are thinking about their future, and they're not too bothered about this game with so little on it for them. Obviously not an enormous amount on this for Liverpool either. They've got a few rotation issues, of course, the likes of Gerrard, Suarez, Agger all missing, but they seem to have been coping all right, and did so again last week with Daniel Sturridge looking in particularly good form. He's odds on to score at any time, and in fact, I think even the likes of Barini are hovering around even money, 5-4, to score at any time, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. Liverpool have either been rampant or just massively frustrating in the latter part of the season, really. The defence generally has been pretty good. 4 clean sheets in 6. Now had 15 overall. That's second only to Man City. 10 clean sheets coming at home, just like City, and all versus 6th and below. So When you consider only West Brom, Villa and Newcastle have managed to get on the score sheet at Anfield of those sort of non-elite clubs, I think Liverpool to nil at 6-5, while it doesn't smack of quite as much value as the Man City Norwich game, I think it's probably worth a bet. It's teetering on the edge of not being great value, just because Liverpool, as ever, are so short. But I think it's like to come in, and I'm playing a little bit safe if I'm honest. Final game then, and nothing creative about this whatsoever. West Brom playing Man United. Funnily enough, I'm backing Man United. They're only shades of odds on at kind of 17 to 20 mark, which to me, albeit for a Manchester United side that's likely to rotate, albeit for a side that's long since won the title and is in somewhat of cruise mode, I think it's still a decent price. I'm kind of surprised that the bookies prepared to take them on this weekend, but that's exactly what it seems to me the message coming from the bookies is: come and take us on here. Just looking at them, obviously they've slacked off a little bit since they've won the title. But they're sixth in form over the last four. The last three games since they've won the title, won one, drawn one, lost one. Of course, losing to Chelsea, who had a lot to play for. Drawing with Arsenal, had a lot to play for. And in many ways, could have won those games quite easily with a balance of chances, having watched them. And obviously beat Swansea last weekend. That extra bit of emotion involved with it being Sir Alex Ferguson's last game. You would have thought that, even with a rotated squad, they've got the strength and depth to go and beat a West Brom side who, let's face it, are on the beach themselves. They're far from at full pelt. They're 17th in the form table over the last 8 games, having long since secured safety and drifted away really from a battle for European places. They've lost 5 of the last 7, including home games against Wigan and Arsenal. And Newcastle have also drawn at the Hawthorn. So where it was very much a bit of a fortress in the first half of the season, West Brom are just tailing off here. And I just think with two sides probably going at a bit of a canter, United's quality will just shine through. Overall, United's away record impeccable: 1-12, drawn 4, lost 2. It's the best away record in the league by sort of 6 points or so. They've won 10, drawn 2, lost 1 against sides outside the top 6. And just expect them to do the business. So at 17 to 20, they look very backable to me. So just a recap of the 3 bets. I've got 2-0 bets in Man City at 6-4 against Norwich, and Liverpool at 6-5 against QPR. And finally, the obvious pick, Manchester United 17 to 20 to beat West Brom. Let's hope I go out on a high note. Good luck, guys.